Her Bak Egyptian Initiate, Part 3, The Legacy of Egypt. This morning at the hour of instruction, the sage looked Her Bak through and through as if he were transparent. "My son," he said at last, "you have completed the first stage of the great journey. Not a heroic phase of it, certainly. It is easy to receive, harder to make something of it in a spirit of gratitude. We have put a few simple keys in your hands. They open the door to exact knowledge hidden in symbols. Now it is for you to advance by your own effort." Her Bak was seized with a fright. "Master, your teaching is indispensable. What can I achieve alone?" "We will guide your researches. First, find the doors, prove your discernment and your respect for the eternal wisdom, then we shall open our treasuries." Seeing the importance of it, Her Bak quickly got his feelings under control. "Master," he said, "your conditions are just. To get without labour is to usurp, and I know these treasures aren't for all men. I would win wisdom, not get it by subterfuge. I'll work for it without forgetting who taught me the beginning of it. Seek peacefully, you will find. Light goes out in face of an ingrate." Am I to have a last piece of advice on the method of search? "You have understood the first condition of success. The second is this: make it your constant endeavour to awaken your higher consciousness, your divine Ma'at, in whom all is knowledge. Without her you have but your cerebral faculties, and if rational thinking is your only guide, it will bring you to a philosophy of negation. We have always refrained from giving the people an intellectual training out of key with their nature. But if some child of the people shows evidence of intuitive gifts, no door is closed. We always act prudently and never lose sight of him. If the heart's vision doesn't awaken, he will work according to his possibilities under surveillance, as you have seen in various places of outer instruction. For every mode of thinking is admissible in a theocratic state, which is governed finally through a process of selection by an elite of the people. But if under influence of texts and symbols the intelligence of the heart lights up, the way is wide open to him and he has full liberty." "Haven't there been times," asked Her Bak, "when selection became impossible, the people being independent?" "There have. There will be again. Crisis of egalitarian willfulness. They always lead to vulgarization. The feeling for perfection deteriorates. Sages are reduced to silence. The elite is used up little by little and disappears. Then comes a really black phase when there is no longer an elite, and the people build without foundations. They can only proceed by trial and error. Unfruitful experiment aggravates their misery and trains their consciousness, and it is they who by degrees will raise up a new elite. They themselves will call for leaders of quality. And the new age will never resemble the old because the new elite springs of new necessities." "This seems to say that evil is necessary to good," Her Bak remarked. "The people, like an individual, develop consciousness through experience, but organization and stability are impossible unless those who know the laws of harmony lay the foundations. Do the priests who pretend to know them abuse their power? It isn't the priests who withhold the fundamental answers. They perform the rites, assure the maintenance of tradition, assume all religious and funerary duties. The wisest among them study certain high sciences, but the master keys are never in their hands. Those who hold them must be independent of authority, for wisdom, or the science of universal harmony, must guide all other powers to prevent abuse and maintain harmony among men. Isn't that Pharaoh's rule? You don't yet know Pharaoh's rule. We shall return to it. Today is the day to sum up the purpose and method of our teaching. Our masters came to perform a work of reconstruction in an isolated centre among deserts, that nothing might contaminate this new small world. They said to the desert, "You are our frontier, Red Seth, hostile to life." They said to the barren mountains, "You are evil, no man may pass your gates quitting this land." They said to the great river, "You are the benefactor, your source is in heaven and the chasms of earth, we shall live by you." They said to the mud, "You are black earth, the magnet that will attract heaven and all the netters." They said to the sky, "You are the bull that begets and the cow that nourishes. You are our country, your regions are places of pilgrimage for our souls. When the day comes for us to be rejoined with earth, our souls will ascend with many great ones, not find themselves in exile. For our kingdom will be made in heaven's image. Our roads will be your roads. Your cycles will rule our lives. What is below will be what is on high." They said to men, "Live with the heavens and with nature, and nature will give you knowledge of heaven. Your nut, your city, is like the newt on high. Never depart from it, for it is yourself. Do for it what it does for you. Feed it with your labour as it feeds you with grain, and you will never know distress. Do not dread the day when you go to your car. If you have lived to possess your car on earth, evil comes to the fool who lives for his belly and sex, but the man who seeks his netter returns to it. Each country has its netter. The netters of your city are your own, but above them is the netter that is man, by knowledge of whom he becomes master of all things." They said to the workers, "Make the perfect gesture in all you do, and in each task sing the song that belongs to it. Your labour will be joyous." They said to the craftsman, "Thoth has set up a balance that gives equilibrium on earth. The man who knows it will be master of matter. Everything made in measure and proportion provides the mastership of the one who made it. Every work of art should express number, measure, and quality. Monument, statue, no matter what object, every perfect work is an initiation and its own reward. But the glory belongs to the masters who bequeath knowledge, and it would be wrong to write the maker's name on it." They said to the leaders, "Each of you represents a mode of authority, the principle of which images a power, functional quality, or netter. Your scepters, rods, and insignia are symbols of it. Know them and use your authority within the limits of such function. The crook-bearer will be the leaven of the people he governs. Such as he is, such they will be. May he know himself. He who wields the sceptre must conform human justice with divine justice of Ma'at. May he know both. He who wields the rod will direct the work he has in commission. Let him order and punish as may be necessary, so that there shall be no misconstruction. The rod will be his honour and his own punishment." They said to themselves, "We will set the pattern for all other countries and the generations to come. Conform with divine harmony, and we have nothing to fear from foreigners or invaders. They must adapt themselves to us, for cosmic law is more powerful than the arbitrary decisions of men. The sage fell silent. This plan is awe-inspiring, said Her Bak. But men are feeble, the people ignorant. How could such a program be realized and maintained in spite of whatever crisis? What turns man from justice, the sage replied, is the violence of his passion, greed, bodily pleasure, ambition, vanity in personal performance. It is useless to try to suppress such passions, wise to direct them into the quality of living. It is good to diminish greed by removing its object. We have reduced the causes of desire by reducing daily needs and personal luxury, even for the leaders and Pharaoh himself, to the strict necessities of existence, the due exercise of functions and the prestige of authority. As regards ornament, wealth has been concentrated in images and temples, in symbolic representation of the netters and pharaohs, objects used in initiation and funeral rites. As to bodily pleasures, it is true that evil comes to the intemperate man through his belly and sex, but it is true also that imposed sobriety provokes passionate reaction. Liberation of instinct is authorized at the time of certain liturgical feasts. As to ambition, it is a stimulant that we render innocuous. Appointment to posts responsible for harmony, tradition, and perfect craftsmanship is not susceptible to favoritism. Vanity in personal performance is transformed into legitimate pride of the craftsman in his knowledge of rules and canons and in the master touch. The grandeur of a work is proportional to its conformity with cosmic example. It is perfect if it is a perfect symbol. In this light, private fantasy looks like a child's meaningless game. Human genius like vision of the real. Thus, individual vanity brings no gain. We offer vanity no nourishment. We know that all comes from heaven. It is heaven we glorify when we say, I have succeeded, for I have done all according to my art. But we don't charge our sins to heaven, and to repair the harm they do, we count only on ourselves. The stars show us men's dispositions, and we obey. There are several aspects of the car in his belly and profit. Let me read that again. There are several aspects of the car in each individual. Each answers what interests him. Animal man works for his belly and profit, but higher man seeks his food in the world of soul and cause. His sustenance is my art. You don't ask a dog to know heaven, but he will serve you for his food. If you, a man, put care about your subsistence first, you will lose your knowledge of heaven. Man is a microcosm. Self-knowledge shows him that he is made in the universe of macrocosm, and being conscious of this, he develops a sense of the universal. Thus, we point his gaze to the netter, and the netter comes down to the man who attracts him. It is no use whatever preaching wisdom to men. You must inject it into their blood. For blood carries the sensitive soul. Eyes and ears are its windows. You must watch what they tell it. It isn't what reason appreciates, judges, accepts, or refuses that impresses the human being, but daily sight of objects, the hearing of words and familiar names, the connection between its name and the nature of a thing, between its form and its function. This is what writes itself in the heart. If the name and form of an object corresponds with its reality, his sense perceptions shape a man according to my art. If not, eye and ear deceive him. Thus, forms, words and names are established and changed to suit every age. In this way we have achieved Ma'at. Happy is the man who can say, I have spent my life watching heaven, the laws of Ma'at. All truth is in him. A man's history is of no interest to posterity. His destiny means nothing to anyone but himself. But while man passes, heaven remains. If his name, his rhythm, his mode of action are in accord with his time, or given phase of it, then his name may serve as a theme of instruction. It will be the history of a name and a moment in becoming. Our genealogies show relations of principle. They give the evolution of an epoch, not individuals. But we take care to see that relations appropriate to the necessity of the age are assured at important conjunctures, for kings should be prototypes of man made perfect. Pharaoh is 11. It is our duty to guard its integrity, a duty beyond the criticism of the profane. We know the laws that govern the transmission of blood and the incarnation of souls. We order everything accordingly. We have obeyed, in every particular, rules established long since, and we shall obey them until our mission on earth comes to an end.